Okay, so I've had people ask me, what makes you qualified to talk about AI? And that's a great question, right? Like, I'm not an AI data scientist or anything like that. I'm not an AI developer, but I have done a lot of work in kind of data science, enterprise data warehousing, data governance, all of these disciplines that are associated with data. Also, Six Sigma Black Belt, really familiar with business operations, system implementations, and stuff like that, right? And so to kind of answer this question of why we're qualified to talk about AI implementation as an organization, I'm going to tell you about a conference that I went to back in September. So I was speaking actually at a conference in Nashville in September, and good talk went well. It was great. But the guy who spoke right after me, so there was kind of a session in the middle of the conference. I think we had like the 1 and 2 o'clock in the afternoon, right after lunch, right, which was great. So I had the 1 o'clock session and he had the 2 o'clock session. And so I stuck around after my talk was done to listen to the guy who came after me. And the guy who came after me, I forget his name, so I apologize for that if he ever happens to see this, but he was the head of data science AI. I don't know the exact department name, but he was the head of essentially data science and AI at Vanderbilt, right? So highly, highly qualified academic expertise in this field. And he was great. His talk was great, but I listened to his talk and I realized he just gave the exact same talk. He did talk about using Claude. He used Claude as the example and how you can use it to complete business functions. In fact, he actually used the example of having Claude help you create a Power BI dashboard, right? And it was a good talk. I'm not bashing the talk. It was fantastic. But what I walked away from that thinking was, that's the exact same talk I would have given in that scenario, right? Like that is what I would have talked about in that specific scenario. That's not to say that I know the same amount about how the models are created or the nuances of the specific models or any of those things. But like I said, like not claiming to be an AI engineer, not any of those things, right? So it's not, I'm not claiming to have the same knowledge level as this guy who was the head of the Vanderbilt department that did that. Well, what I found was interesting is that all of this technology is so new as far as how it interacts with a business and how it kind of incorporates into business operations, that I was basically on a level playing field, not about knowledge of the models themselves, but about knowledge of business integration of AI applications. I was basically on a level playing field with people who are experts, right? Who study this for a living and who are living and breathing this environment. And again, that's not at all a knock on him. And I'm sure he knows way more about the technical components that we do. But when it comes to how do you actually use this, use cases in businesses to get value for your businesses, all of this is so new. Everyone is learning on the fly, right? Every single day, new updates are getting pushed. Every single day, new things are changing. The pacing is rapid, and what businesses need is a partner who is paying attention, who is involved in it, and who understands business operations and how you cannot get caught up in all the new bells and whistles, but actually focus on the specific use cases that are going to drive value for your business and how you can take AI applications, integrate them into your business ops, and get real tangible business value out of it. And so that would be um, some context and background, but that at the end of the day is why we decided both to start talking about it and why we think we're qualified, because we understand business ops, we understand operations optimization, process optimization, we understand process improvement disciplines, we understand data structures, data architecture. There's a lot of things that we understand that are kind of tangential to AI, and now we're starting to live in this AI world. But what businesses really need is not more grifters who are trying to sell them the next flashy AI tool that they're not really sure how to use and get value out of it, but people who are going to help them really break down their business operations and where AI can fit to solve specific problems, right? Because no business should start out and say, we're going to do AI, right? We're going to go do AI. That's not how it should work. What a business should say is, we need to solve these specific problems. What's the right solution for these problems? And then, in all likelihood, the right solution for some or all of those problems might be an AI application. And that's where you should use it to achieve those very specific use cases. But you won't be able to eventually achieve some of those use cases if you don't do the foundational maturation work that is required to really build a foundation in which to build on. and strive towards those AI use cases. So that's why we decided to start talking about it, and that's where we think we can add value to organizations who are navigating these murky and new waters.